This weigh-in is brought to you by our stable of sponsors.
You got the way to numbing the pain. Don't start running away from here. Stop running away from fear. 'Cause you got a heart is stone, but lips of gold. I guess I'm so. What do I know? Yeah, what do I know? I can't seem
So many wonderful memories from New Zealand Cup Week, all wrapped up, done and dusted for another year. A very warm welcome to Weigh-In, where we bring you, of course, all the racing review from the week and the weekend. We're joined by Paul Wilcox this week. We've got an extra guest in studio. Paul, it's wonderful to have you with us, and I can't wait to get into some of the nitty-gritty around Ellerslie later on.
Yeah, looking forward to it, and thanks to you and Michael for getting me on.
And Michael, great to have you back on the show as well. It's been a week, so much has happened, and as always, it seems like we've got a jam-packed evening coming up.
Yeah, we sure have. Yeah, big hi to everybody. The voice is a bit dusty today. Cup week can be a bit that way, but it was great fun. And well done to Tim Mills, everybody involved at Rickon for putting on a huge show, which maybe 3 months ago we thought we wouldn't have, and to the other two codes as well. But I thought Rickon had a really special carnival. There were no track issues. There was a great balance of really dominant teams from the north and the south. Everybody had a sort of a go. I thought there was so much out of the carnival and so many questions hanging out of it too. So looking forward to finding out tonight just where some of those horses are going to go, because that 3-year-old fillies brigade at the moment, I think we have no leader of the tour just yet.
Yeah, there's so much to talk about, isn't there? Speaking of the 3-year-old fillies, let's jump straight into it with the Group 1 1,000 guineas.
Flower Blue sticking towards the inside, then Tinker McPhee, Tokarangi weaving a path. They're followed next by Carmelas and wider out Matchmaker in the straight in the guineas. The leader in the middle of the track now, taking over Vitesse Tinker McPhee up the rail with Cornflower Blue. Wider out running on Carmelas. Cornflower Blue, Tinker McPhee. Carmelas is coming from Vitesse and bottom. Tinker McPhee grabbed by Carmelas. Carmelas went to the lead in the guineas. Cornflower Blue tries to kick, but it's another Group 1 for guess who? Opie Bosson. The winner is Carmelas. Beat home Cornflower Blue or the fast finishing Miss Tycoon Rose.
That was a terrific performance.
Yeah, really pleased with her. She's come a long way in a short space of time. Always had a big opinion of her, like she's trialled up well as a 2-year-old, but just had to give her a little bit of time, a bit of immaturity. But yeah, she's really, kept stepping up to the plate when we've increased her work, and it's a, good sign and a good filly.
Up to the mile was the key, I think.
Yeah, she just overdid it a little bit early when the tempo came out of the race, but it's a bit rough back in the field, but Opie found the right path through and was able to sort of come in between them rather than come to the outside, and that's probably the winning of the race.
Karaka Million Night would seem on the radar.
Yeah, that's where we'll probably look to go with her. We'll have a bit of a chat to Brendan and Joe when she gets home and make some plans with Henry, but I think that sort of be the logical way to go.
Well, Carmelas was the best filly on the day, and she took out the Group 1 1,000 guineas. There's quite a few talking points around it, though, and like you said prior to that replay, Michael, I don't think it's over yet because there's such an even bunch of horses. Carmelas was good, though, because when you look at that replay, she copped a bump. She over-raced a little bit, and she's just had the engine to weave through them and pop up at the right time and get the win.
I hope he didn't panic, did he, which was really important. And look, she's clearly a very good horse because she's getting better every run. Excuse me, getting better every run. So, look, Same Colours won the Cracker Classic last year. Is she as good as Probably? Probably not, but we're going to find out.
Yeah, we sure are. It's such an exciting time, and we see those colours, Paul. And Brendan and Joe, they've put so much into racing, haven't they? So to see them sort of getting these big winners, it's great, isn't it?
Oh, it absolutely is. And if you go back and watch that race again, I think Opie really positioned the horse beautifully where it was good ground, and he's a masterful jockey. And once you got Opie on the back, particularly in Brendan and Joe's colours, as they say, the rest is history.
Match made in heaven.
Also for them, the Group 1s are the key. For Brendan and Joe, Group 1s with the fillies are everything. So to get one out of the way now, is a good start. So my apologies, I picked up a hell of a bug travelling over the week. So yeah, but to get that out of the way now, she's set. Everything's a bonus from here on in, because the 1,000 guineas is about as big as it gets in the country for this country for the fillies. So when you think about Probabile and her and all the other bloodstock they have, and Let's Be Glam coming back from
What
Australia,
a broodmare
pretty
band.
to see.
Yep.
I wasn't sure they could build a broodmare band that good, but it's developing enormous depth to it now.
Yeah, it sure is. And off the beaten brigade, I thought there was certainly a worthy chat. Miss Tycoon Rose, I thought, ran way above expectation. She was fantastic with what she did. Cornflower Blue, I mean, that's another from the Tiakau stable who's obviously pretty progressive. And even Tinker McVie, she was super game.
Yeah, very deep crop. So I don't think any filly's going to dominate. Last year we had 2 dominate, and Jennifer Eccles win filly of the year. I think it's going to be a more even bunch with more big race winners separated out, I think.
Yeah.
Great for New Zealand racing, having a bigger bunch of horses that keeps them engaged and involved, which is good for New Zealand racing.
And of course, when it comes to the Karaka Million Night, we're going to get to see Aegon and now Karma Lass go head to head. It's shaping up to be quite the race. And also both sires of the Guineas winners, they won the Guineas themselves. So a nice little connection with Darcy Brahma and Sacred Falls through that Group 1 1,000 Guineas. Let's move it on, because we have another feature on the card to get through in the form of the New Zealand Cup, which was Dragon Storms in a battle to the line.
Storm pushed on from Owen Patrick. Hurricane went to the lead in the cup. Robusto, Dr. Velocious pushing through. It's Hurricane and Robusto passing the 300 metres. Dragon Storm into the clear now. Wider out, Lincoln King running on. A line of 4 in a great struggle. Hurricane, Dragon Storm, Lincoln King coming at it. Dragon Storm took the lead in the cup. Lincoln King diving the outside. Dragon Storm keeps finding Lincoln King coming. It's a photo. Maybe Dragon Storm over Lincoln King, I don't know. Third in Hurricane, then came Dr. Velocious in the good fight.
I'm picking that's a massive thrill.
Absolutely, it's amazing. And yeah, like you said before when we were chatting off air, Dad rung me, or at least I rung him and just happened to get him when he was at Terry Ray Stable, and he says, I'm looking at your horse in the box, and he said, oh, he looks amazing. And I thought, well, if he says he looks amazing, he must look pretty good.
Yeah, he's got a fair sort of a judge of a horse, and of course it's been a big week for the Gibbs family. Spankin won the free-for-all yesterday at Addington, and now you've won this one. But let's concentrate on this horse. When did the plan get hatched?
Well, it was pretty much a year ago, I think, and Michelle was with me then. And hi, Michelle, and thank you so much for everything. It's just how things work out, unfortunately, but she was just a bigger part of this as I am, and all my staff at home. But we hatched it a long time ago. We set our plan in place. We wanted to only give him a few runs because we knew he was a bit like his mum. He just needed to be kept quite fresh, and that's why we took the path that we did.
He's a very good stayer. Mind you, he's bred to be one.
Yeah, we've had a few issues with him, and to be honest, in his early career, we thought he was a bit dour, and everyone kept hopping off to say he's a bit one-paced. But when I legged Grillsy up the other day, and I said, listen, don't worry about what that says, just ride him quietly, and 3,200 will show a turn of foot. It's the distance that's the problem. He's not going to show any speed over an early one, so he gets to the distance he likes. And the nice thing about it today is we win this race, and we can really plan other things without having to chase races to get in.
What is the plan then?
Well, there's 2 lovely 2-mile races in New Zealand. There's no reason why we can't target those. So anything other than that at the moment is too far away. So first thing is, he will come home back to Terry's. She'll look after him so well as she has been, and then he'll go to the paddock down here for a little bit, and then we'll probably get him back to the Waikato into a nice paddock there with plenty of grass, and he'll have a little wee break for a while, and then perhaps Wellington, perhaps Auckland. We'll just see where we're going to go.
Chris, you haven't campaigned too many at this carnival, but how good?
How good. I had brought a horse down with Donna and Michelle when Michelle worked for us, and me and Donna, and we ran third in a hurdles, in a Grand National hurdles, and that was exciting. But to come here and win this premier race anywhere in the country, but to here is just amazing. We've come a long way.
Well, congratulations to you.
Thanks, Rick.
I had the pleasure of having a little chat with Chris post-race, and the excitement coming out of him was just palpable. He was absolutely pumped with what happened, and he gave a massive shout out to Terry Ray and the team that have looked after the horse. When they went to war up the straight, it was one of those great staying races. They've gone the 3,200, and to still him and Lincoln King be battling it out up the straight, it was marvellous to see.
Yeah, I spoke to Chris tonight. He's looking more Auckland Cup than Wellington Cup, so he's thinking, yeah, they'll get into the race. So good to see Michelle recognise there, Michelle Bradley. She's left that training partnership pool, but look, he's an Auckland Cup horse now because he'll get into the race and he'll stay the 2 miles. Cornella there, by the stallion Shocking, and she's had a prize lady, of course. He's had a prize lady, of course, who also won over the 2 miles. So that's about as 2 mile bred as you can be in this country.
Yeah, looking forward to that, and hopefully we can see a rendition like that up the Ellerslie Straight in the Auckland Cup. It'll be special to see, and obviously our association with not only Chris Gibbs but Alan Fu and the Taniwha group, which owns Dragonstorm, which will be nice to see them at Auckland.
Chris was saying COVID were really hard on the Ruakaka trainers because obviously they couldn't travel through Auckland twice. So he's lost a few horses because they couldn't have them there. Ruakaka racing is going to continue over the summer and things will kick back up there. So he's got room for horses. So things have changed. Michelle's left that training partnership and Chris is now rebuilding the team. So there's a gap there if you think you've got a horse you can race in the north, because Kenny Ray was smart enough to go down to Riccarton, but he didn't make that choice, Chris, so it's taken its toll on him. So he got a real thrill out of that, and it's great advertising for him over the summer.
And I know, talking to them as well, just now that he's won a race like this, having the option of being able to get into the Auckland Cup and rather than trying to qualify your way in, they can actually now work back and work towards those races with a set plan. And I just think he's really cementing himself as a really quality stayer from what we saw in both of those runs this campaign, that Jericho Cup qualifier, and then to back it up again over the 3-2. He's an exciting horse.
And still low enough in the weights that he can win those races. He's not going to get 20 points or something ridiculous where he's going to end up being top weight for a cup. So, because in this country that can happen pretty quickly. So, look, they've got lots of options with him. Second horse was really good, of course.
Yeah.
I think it might be a deeper race than some New Zealand Cups, because Robusto and some of those horses, I think there's enough there.
Progressive.
They'll end up in good summer races.
Yep, no, exactly. The other feature on that card from Riccarton was the Welcome Stakes, and it was taken out by the Jamie Richards team, Opie Bosson doing the riding.
Back to the inner, then Lux Cummermore Bodyguard trying to run on Global Beauty. Here's the battle we came for. It is Follow Your Dreams, grabbed by Avanello the outside. He has the advantage, Avanello, Follow Your Dreams trying to kick inside the 200. Avanello leads a neck on Follow Your Dreams. He won't lie down, but he has the advantage now. Avanello leads a half, leads a length and a half. Now 2 Avanello, getting away for Opie Bosson, 3 for Jamie Richards. Avanello won the Welcome Stakes, beat Follow Your Dreams. Third maybe Global Beauty. Roussan, Mozzarella and Bodyguard weren't far behind.
Well, he just kept going, getting better, and he was good enough today.
Yeah, he's sort of half mile's just been a little bit short for him, but got in a lovely rhythm there today, and looked to be travelling really well. And Opie cuddled him up, and he won nicely. So that's what we brought him down here for. So it's good that it's all come together.
This race has always been a great pathway for your 2-year-old. So where are you heading? So
he'll go home and have 10 days in the paddock, and we'll give him a run in January somewhere, probably at Ellerslie, and then he'll go into the Karaka Million. That's the plan. We sort of done it with Al Hassar. Avantage did her early racing down here as well, so hopefully we can follow what they've been able to achieve.
Avanello was just so professional on the day, and in the build-up to the race, it was really pegged as a match race, and you had Follow Your Dreams as a clear favourite in that betting early, but the closer you got to a start time, the more money kept coming for Avanello, and I thought in that previous run, you could see Avanello taking ground off Follow Your Dreams, and it just ended up that way, and the horse is just so professional. He puts himself there, he wants to be a racehorse, not that the other horse didn't, but it just really...
And now he's qualified for Karaka Million,
Yeah.
so we're at the market for the Karaka Million, so he's in the race, which is a big deal. So they can choose where they go with him. He's now third favourite pool. Must be great to see that on screen, knowing it's happening now, knowing it's going to happen.
Yeah, absolutely, and I'm sure the bookies would have got a little bit nervous straight after that race, particularly with Chris Rutten being in the ownership group, and we know what they've done before with Tiako and Jamie Richards. So, no, it's a good-looking field. It's starting to set itself quite nicely, but really looking forward to later on in January when they come and race at Ellerslie for the million.
I spoke to Jamie about the 2-year-old. She said we don't have a star yet.
Yeah.
I've now got 3 at the top of the market.
No, I know, it's funny how things work out, isn't it? And I guess it's going to come around quicker than we think, isn't it? The Karaka Million, of course, it's only a couple of months away now, but definitely a big shout out as well to Chris Rutten, because he buys these horses and they do the job, and this is just an exact case of that, so well done to them. And of course Hanaway Farm as well, with their exciting young stallion in Bellardo, who was doing a fabulous job in Europe and is backing that up here in New Zealand, and certainly going to be sought after in those upcoming sales. We now take you back. We rewind the clock and go back to Wednesday, because midway through New Zealand Cup week we had a couple of wonderful stories, including a pretty exciting galloper who looks very progressive at that, as we take in the Copeland's Mile Hypnos for the James Wellwood team.
Tuning in, Shirley Maud, grabbed by Kalani. Germanicus wider out. Hypnos wants an out, so does Lightning Jack. Neither have much room. Hypnos got through. Lightning Jack did as well. Communique leading down with Vigor Winner and Tobylicious from the back. It is Hypnos leading Communique. Germanicus whacks away. Tobylicious wide out. 1:20 to go. Hypnos leads a length on Communique. Tobylicious late, but he just keeps giving this horse. Hypnos has won the Copeland's Bakeries Mile. Hypnos won it, beat home either Tobylicious or Communique. Fourth in Vigor Winner, then Lightning Jack.
Danielle Johnson was a force to be reckoned with during New Zealand Cup week, and she took out the feature, the Copeland's Mile on Hypnos. It was always a good indication that this horse was going to be able to do something like that, Paul. He just was sort of knocking off those wins, and it's a really good race for progressive horses. I think back to True Enough, Tiakau Shark, and I think this could be another really exciting progressive galloper.
Yeah, 100%, and it's also great to see Robert Wellwood in association with Roger James getting on the board. Really impressed with that young trainer, and it's like you said, you know, you follow those other horses like True Enough and you see what they've done and what they've gone on to do as well. It's going to be exciting to watch Hypnos go through.
And a plan beautifully hatched. They wanted to get to this race light enough weight. They wanted Hastings, and it cost them 4 kilos. But yeah, perfectly executed plan. He'll head to the Captain Cook next time at Group 1 level at Trentham.
Yeah, that's exciting to see him there, and it was a great ride as well. Just gaps opened and had a really conservative run and was able to get home in front. That was the Copeland's Mile with Hypnos, and it started a pretty good couple of days for the James Wellwood team. We'll get into that later on, of course, Concert Hall at Tauranga. Let's press on to the Stewards Stakes, and this was a wonderful story around Southern Galloper in Prince Oz.
Princess Emily and Fibonacci. Everyone's in play here. Miss Federer leads. Wicked Force goes to her. Pusiger tried to follow her through. Recanto letting down. Wicked Force went to the lead. Recanto's coming at her quickly here. Recanto moved up and took the lead over Wicked Force. Miss Federer the inside. It's Recanto. 150 left to go. Leading the Stewards field. Out and after it, Pusiger. Prince Oz is running on. Recanto. Here's Prince Oz over the top. He's storming home Prince Oz. He's done it again. Prince Oz won the Stewards. Beat home either Pusiger or Recanto.
It was really a bit of a fairy tale, I guess, around the win of this horse. Prince Oz, of course, trained by the late Neil Ridley, now with Terry Ray. Terry Mosley did the riding. And Michael, it was some pretty emotional scenes after the race, and there was certainly somebody looking down from above.
Yeah, remarkable stuff. And I spoke to Terry tonight. She was just thrilled to get the win for the Ridley team, the whole Ridley family. So, yeah, emotional time. The horse will head to Otago on Boxing Day. Wicked Force, the other stable runner, will head to the Telegraph.
And a special mention to those Southern trainers, because tell you what, during the week there were some massive milestones kicked off. The Pitmans, they got the most winners that they ever have during a carnival. Terry Ray was a force to be reckoned with. And then on that last day you had the JB Richards team. Well, they had a super Saturday with the 6 winners across Riccarton and then Tauranga as well. Massive weekend for them.
Yeah, unbelievable. And for someone so young as well, Jamie is so professional. He's an amazing person, and just his knowledge, his understanding on how to place a horse, which always gets me. He knows to the minute how those horses need to be trained, and you saw that on Saturday, not only winning in Riccarton but at Tauranga, as you mentioned, and it's unbelievable at the minute. He's actually a shorter price favourite than the All Blacks were, and I'm sure he'll make good.
Yeah, and always making himself available for media stuff as well, which we are very, very grateful for. We also had the Breeders' Stakes, and it was another wonderful story on the card from Riccarton on Wednesday, because Amy's Jewel was successful, and a very excited Trudy Keegan.
Girl, Montesquito joins in. Belfacino wider out. Then came Severine. Zarbe looking to run on. Kiwiida's not in it. It's Irish Girl leading. Nellie Bly wider out, running on in acceleration from the back, and Amy's Jewel got through. Irish Girl, Amy's Jewel the outside. They're the two running on acceleration. Amy's Jewel going to the lead. Start number 5, Group 3 victory. Amy's Jewel won it. Beat home Irish Girl. Third to go by was Accelerate.
I actually listened to this race in the car on Wednesday, and I sort of got through through the radio, I got the aftermath with Trudy. She was so excited, so emotional, and I think that's great. It's what racing's about. And this horse, she was so good. She came from the back of the field. Okay, she didn't go round a horse, but just loved the way she got to the line. And Felisa All-Press as well, getting those big winners after. I know we've talked about it often, but a significant operation must be really rewarding for her too.
Big, beautiful mare. Big, beautiful horse to look at. Thrilled for Trudy. You know, we didn't like the horse on the show last week. We got it wrong. They got it right.
Yeah, and that's always good, isn't it? It's a bit of satisfaction for them to have got one up on you, Michael, no doubt. And I think she's a horse we can follow from this, Paul, because that was a lovely win, and I'm excited where she's going to go next.
Yeah, absolutely. And you saw from the replay there also, again, you're looking at those key jockeys. Lisa Allpest just positioned the horse, presented it at the right time, and when you do that, you get the training feet second to none when they come on strong like that.
Yeah, it certainly is. And we can have a little look at that trainer's premiership actually off the back of the win for Trudy Keegan. And you can see that Jamie Richards is right at the top there with 274 starters, 53 wins and close to $1.5 million in stakes money. The Pitmans, after their magnificent week during New Zealand Cup week, they're at 180 for 23 wins. Then you go back to Baker Forsman, Stephen Marsh, Tony Pike, the Tylers, Kevin Myers, Alan Sharrock, Terry Ray with her, I think you spoke about it last week, Michael, the strike rate that she's got is remarkable, and we really saw that to the fore during Cup week.
Yeah, 6 wins too for someone who doesn't have a lot of horses in work. So, but to the Pitties, great job by them, super job by both of them. Andrew Forsman, Murray Baker got a Guineas, so the names there on that list, most of them starred during Cup week, and the market, well, unbackable now, Jamie.
Yeah, he is very short at the 101, opened at 115 and into 101. You've got obviously Stephen Marsh on that second line. So as we wrap up our racing review of all things New Zealand Cup week, was a man on the ground who took in any number of races, probably the most of anybody during New Zealand Cup week. And I guess we also want to give a massive shout out to all of the crew behind the scenes who brought us the coverage of New Zealand Cup week, because they worked relentlessly long hours to bring us those wonderful pictures. But the man calling all of those races was Matt Cross.
We are literally at the last race. How's it been in 2020?
Well, the bags under my eyes probably tell the story, Greg. It's been a great week. I've said it to a few people. Last year was a real learning experience, just getting that under the belt, working out what the week was like. I didn't know what to expect, and I think this year I've known what to expect and been able to pace myself. I've been happy with how the week's gone with the calls across both codes, but yeah, this upcoming race is going to be my favourite, I think.
The culmination of an enormous week's organisation by both Addington Raceway and, of course, here at Riccarton, and then a magnificent day on this last day and a sold-out crowd as well to go with Tuesday. It's just the best week, isn't it?
It certainly is, and everything that we do builds up to it all through the year. You're thinking about it. We've obviously got some good carnivals around New Zealand, but I think in terms of social atmosphere and the crowds that we get, this day even is probably one of the best ones. Everyone gets out, and I think with COVID, everyone was looking for something to do. There's been no concerts, no chance to party, so everyone's been able to come here and let their hair down, so it's been great.
Big day for the Tangerine.
Certainly was. Group 1 win as well. Opie Bosson once again. He's just so fantastic, isn't he, with Karma Lass running over the top of them. A really competitive 3-year-old fillies race, I thought, this year, and the market suggested that. It's always that question of who's going to cop the mile, and Karma Lass did, and she might not be stopped either, stepping up over a bit more ground. But how do you stop him, Jamie Richards? He puts in the hard yards, you put in the hard work, and you'll get the rewards.
Voices holding up quite nicely, thanks very much, but I'm picking it might be in for a little bit of lubrication.
Yeah, I think so. I might have a couple tonight, Greg. I can just start feeling it. It's just starting to strain a wee bit. I think we're about 84 in now, so I expected that, but it's held out pretty good. I'm sure in 10 or 15 years I might struggle a little bit more though.
Today's weigh-in is brought to you by our stable of sponsors.
You're back with us on weigh-in, and with New Zealand Cup just about behind us, we had another meeting on Saturday, which was Tauranga, and we had a feature race on the programme, the Tauranga Stakes, taken out by Concert Hall.
Down they are, 250 to go. Lava Glow from Hey Tiger. Here's Concert Hall. Demonetization's running on. And behind these then we've got Syracuse. But Concert Hall took over at the 150. Leads a length and a half on Demonetization. Watch this space, Syracuse and Cinerama. But they're all chasing a memory here. Concert Hall too good. Second photo, Cinerama and Syracuse. Right with them, Demonetization.
Well, Concert Hall pinned the ears back and really got to the line strongly, didn't she, for owner and breeder Joan Egan. And she was a winner last time and a pretty dominant winner of the Thompson Handicap at Wellington. And she really just did it again. She just got out, got stuck in, and look at those ears. She really wants to win, Paul, doesn't she? She really has got the ears pinned back and given it all the way to the line.
And that's what you love to see with a horse on the line. It knows it wants to win. It's actually fighting for it. It's, from my perspective, again, I keep talking about these jockeys, but it's great to see Vinny back. You know, our riding ranks have been sorely tested of late, and for Vinny to come back and get 3, possibly 4, but we won't talk about that. But getting 3 on the day, that's awesome from my perspective, and it's a warm welcome to have him back in the riding ranks.
It is, because we've been sorely affected, haven't we, by jockeys when you think, you know, Sam Spratt out with a broken collarbone, poor Rosie Myers with her injury. That's just a couple, but Cameron Lammas, Jason Woodell, Michael Coleman, I mean, the list goes on. So to have someone like Vinny back, and actually to see the old firm back together, wasn't it really, of the Roger James, Wellwood team and Vinny, it was great.
Spoke to Roger tonight, and they're going to go to the Captain Cook as well. So Hypnos and her both go to the Captain Cook. She extended out to 2,300 to win last year at Awapuni, but while she's actually out of a mare who won a hurdle race, they're going to stick to 1,600 as best they can. So Captain Cook for her, because her record of 1,600, Thompson, Cuddle, that race, very, very good.
Yeah, she seems to be a bit revitalised, I thought, this preparation. It's like all the chips have fallen into place and she's just found her rhythm, and she's really just, seems to be in the zone, which is great to see.
As is their stable.
100%.
Robert and Roger doing a great job. So, yep, Robert's really coming on, and they've got 2 horses in a Group 1 now with winning chances.
And who are we going to put? Who are we going with in the Group 1? Hypnos or Concert Hall? What do we reckon?
Hypnos for me,
Yeah.
all day, every day. But after watching that again, Concert Hall looks fantastic, but I like Hypnos, so that's where I've got my money.
You, Michael?
I backed Hypnos last week, which may have been the end of my voice, actually, because I was on about $31 and $11, and about 50 people mentioned it to me.
I'm loving the no voice, actually, because this is my show. Like, this is it. This is what I've been waiting for. I've been waiting for you to lose your... And Paul,
it's only the
It's
the second time of my life if it's ever happened. After all the television I've done, second time of my life.
Oh, I don't believe
Excuses.
that.
It's like the All Blacks. It's like the All Blacks.
I'm still getting paid. She's a lovely mare. So she's probably more a 16 to 2,000 mare, but she does have the option to go further. But most of those races are handicaps, and she'll get too high in the handicaps.
So who did you pick on? Who was your horse? Hypnos or Concert Hall?
Him. Hypnos, for sure.
Hypnos? Yep. Okay, alrighty. You heard it here first. We can continue this discussion as the weeks go on. We also wanted to have a little look at the Waverley Cup. We had Waverley on Sunday, and it was the day for Desert Mirage, who got home a winner.
2 lengths, Desert Mirage. Bonnie is Rover on the outside, starting to close off. Rock on Eve looking for a slot as well. And then Juice Coupe, Desert Mirage got to the lead. On the inside, Shakespeare's fighting really hard. Bonnie is was trying to wind up with Rock on Eve and Password, but Desert Mirage raced away from them. Rock on Eve has been second, third, Password, and then we had...
A big well done to the Clayton Chipperfield team who got the Waverley Cup and brought it back with them up to the Waikato to Te Awamutu. And another real case of a horse just attacking the line, was really just going away with the win, wasn't it?
She's won 4 of her last 5, and spoke to Clayton tonight, and she's going to head to the Waikato Cup. So gets in there a nice handicap. Then he said, look, we'll find out whether she's a City of Auckland Cup horse. We'll find out what she's capable of. So, but the Waikato Cup for her next up.
Yeah, exciting times, and we're just so busy with racing at the moment, aren't we, Paul? When you think we had last Saturday, we've had Wednesday, we've had Saturday again, and Waverley Cup on Sunday. These jockeys and trainers and owners and everything, they're keeping busy, aren't they, travelling around the country?
Absolutely, and for us, being very selfish here, it's great for us because we're about to really start racing in earnest at Ellerslie and leading into our big days as well. So it's our time to shine and show the people what we can do, and that was clearly the flag has been raised by Riccarton, so
Yeah,
now it's
yeah.
up to us to take what they've done and bring it into Auckland and show the Auckland public.
Well done to Waverley. They bid a rating 74, $55,000 race to bring those horses together in the right band. I think they've got a really good field out of it, a good form race heading forward. Good day at the office there. Chelsea Burden broke a collarbone, so
Yeah, she did,
had
yep.
a fall, so get better soon, Chelsea. But yeah, a strong race day for a good little club.
Yeah, it was. Well done to them, and long may that continue. And like you said, the crowds on course at Riccarton were fantastic, and turnover was great. It seems post-COVID, everybody is just getting involved and getting out and about, and I think huge sigh of relief that we can go to sports events. And still, we're looking across the Tasman and we're seeing, you know, no people on. We had more people at Ellerslie, I think, on Melbourne Cup Day than they did at Flemington, which you just scratch your head. You couldn't even believe that that could happen, could you?
Well, they had 0 at
Yeah.
Melbourne Cup, so you'd like to think that we had more than them. But absolutely, and it's shown with a vengeance how people have missed live sport. And I think it's our opportunity to really maximise the opportunities that are out there for us to show our sport to people that may have forgotten about us or not even seen us racing before. So it's a real chance for us to really promote our sport to those people.
Yeah, not just at Ellerslie, it's industry-wide, isn't it?
Absolutely, across the board, and as been shown throughout this time from coming out of that second lockdown, it's been great right across the board, which long may it continue.
If you're out and about and want to get down to the racecourse, make sure you do support racing during the Christmas period. It's a fabulous time to get on track as well at those country meetings, the big crowds, and have a lovely picnic and really get around and enjoy that family time. This week is also pretty big because we do have the New Zealand Bloodstock Ready to Run sales, of course, upcoming on Wednesday and Thursday. Obviously, it's going to be a little bit different this year. Let's find out from New Zealand Bloodstock their thoughts around the sale.
Interest levels heading into the sale are really strong, and we've been buoyed by the number of local agents and trainers that have attended the breeze-ups and the recent on-farm parades. The website traffic has been excellent, and there's a real sense of anticipation as we head into the week. With international buyers unable to attend the sale in person this year, there's a real emphasis on the local agents and trainers. It's been great to see so many of them attending the on-farm parades, and their feedback has been excellent, telling us the quality is as high as ever. The local agents will have to do a really big job this week, but we've got absolute faith in them to help facilitate a successful sale. And it's also worthwhile noting that the New Zealand Bloodstock agents have been out in force recently. We've seen all the horses, and we're more than happy to assist anybody who's got queries about the 2-year-olds on offer or the sale itself. We're excited to debut our new online bidding platform at the Ready to Run sale this year. It's important to note that through Gavel House we've been hosting online sales successfully for a number of years now, and it's great to adapt that technology to a live auction format. The platform is sleek, it's user-friendly, and it's in real time, so buyers can watch the sale from around the world and bid and buy with real confidence. Buyer registrations must be pre-approved at least 24 hours prior to the sale, so if you haven't already, I encourage you to go to the online bidding website, bidonline.nzb.co.nz. Our expectation levels heading into this week are cautiously optimistic. The reputation this sale has is absolutely unrivaled, and it's important to note that graduates have won 20 Group 1 races and over 135 stakes races in the last 6 seasons alone. We've seen horses like Beat the Clock, Te Akau Shark, Golden 60 and Debt Collector all perform at the elite level on the world stage. That, coupled with the quality catalogue and the strong interest, points to a solid 2 days of trading this week.
And I think Kane touches on a really good point there, that we have the product. That's the most important part of it. We, year in, year out, produce these top quality gallopers that are able to punch well above their weight at the top level across the Tasman, and that's not going to change. So if you are out and about and have an interest in a horse, make sure you tune in and get involved in that New Zealand Bloodstock Ready to Run sale. Here's a little information around where you can watch the coverage, including the previews and interviews. Freeview Channel 200. You can head head across to www.nzb.co.nz. You can also live stream it on New Zealand Bloodstock's Facebook page, and a simplified broadcast of just the auctioneer and the sale ring. That'll also be streamed on New Zealand Bloodstock's new online bidding platform, bidonline.nzb.co.nz. And I've been reading a lot online this week about the vendors who are really just taking an innovative and broader view of the sales. They're getting around their marketing and they're using their resources like they never have before. Eon Kemp's one of those. I know Riversley, they've done the same, where they're trying to bring the horse to the buyer. The buyer can't come to us, we're going to open it up and bring the horse to the buyer. River Rock Farm, they've all gone above and beyond to provide the content. And I was looking online earlier, there's some really great and informative stuff.
I was there for the breeze ups 2 days. Man, there's some flesh there. There were some horses there, some really good horses. Lots of international breeding, lots of Australian stallions, which we don't always get. So you've been part of it. How big a deal is it?
Yeah, massive. These guys know what they're doing. So New Zealand Bloodstock, this sale is second to none in the world, particularly for the ready-to-runners. Our vendors do a marvellous job, right through from preparing the horse, doing the breeze-ups, and to what you were talking about, Emily, just the information that's been shared this year. I think it's allowed them to show more off to the potential purchasers, which has been great, which from my perspective, when you're sitting there looking at a horse, the more information you have, the better it is.
And the agents are very engaged. Agents are very engaged. Lots of overseas people ringing our agents and dealing with them, which has been crucial because they can't get on the grounds, obviously.
And I think just finding someone you can trust when it comes to an agent here in New Zealand and being able to talk to them about the horse and if you value their opinion, well, that's almost as good. Obviously, there's a certain amount of cautiousness around the sale and how it's going to unfold. But I think without a doubt, you can safely say that our vendors, New Zealand Bloodstock, they've done the best they can to their ability to make it as big a success as they can.
Yeah, 100%. And you heard from Kane there before saying they're cautiously optimistic. And I think that's the way to be. But Michael was talking about the agents that we have. The agents' knowledge is unbelievable, and we've seen the success those agents have had. So it should give confidence to those buyers that might not necessarily be on ground here. And even Andrew Seabrook, he's been known to offer up a good horse as well. So all those guys and girls at New Zealand Bloodstock, they've got the information. Just go onto the website and give them a bell.
Yeah, and there's going to be some bargains here. There's going to be bargains because of the challenges from overseas. You can buy a horse now cheaper than you could have bought it last year.
One thing for certain though, a good horse will always make its money.
Good money, exactly.
Right? You have two people on it, it doesn't matter whether the market's depressed or not. If those two people want that horse,
it's going to go up.
It's going to go up.
And we have some of the best agents in the world who are now stuck in New Zealand because they can't go to all these other sales, which is also going to work in our favour. And I'm sure they've got plenty of time on their hands, so what better to do than study that catalogue?
Oh, and we are seeing the potential, we're going to talk about in the next segment, about Ellerslie and Auckland racing developing. If you buy a horse now, it's 2. It may be 4, 2 years' time. Some of these changes, some of these stakes increases are going to start to come into the system. So, as I said, I was down there for the breeze-ups, and you don't realise how good they are till you're there. And you see some of these wonderful horses. So, yep, there's going to be some bargains here for sure.
Yeah, certainly exciting, and good luck to everybody involved in that. The hard work's only just beginning, those very, very long sale days, but fingers crossed it can be a good sale for everybody involved. We now unfortunately move on to some pretty sad news that came out of the New Zealand racing industry this week with the really sad passing of Wally O'Hearn, a much loved and respected member of the New Zealand racing industry. The 61-year-old spent 40 years working as a journalist, including the Friday Flash, Best Bets, Sunday Star, Sunday News, DB Racing Annual, Waikato Times, The Informant and the New Zealand Racing Desk. He just had such a good rapport with everybody in the industry. He had such a way with people, and you can see him here after winning the Kiwi Fruit Cup with the Volante, and no doubt that would have brought him a great thrill. So from everybody involved in the New Zealand racing industry, and I guess as a journalist myself, just massive condolences to family and friends with the passing of Wally O'Hearn. We move on now to a little bit better news, and it was a first winner for an up-and-coming jockey in the New Zealand riding ranks, and that was Fay Lizette from the Netherlands. She enjoyed her first winner at Awapuni on Friday aboard Akela Bell.
She's home today. Akira Bell swamped them all. And Akira Bell from either the Blues, Sir beats it, doable, and then We Drum Never Stop Laughing.
I will take your calls. I can feel your voice buzzing through the walls. I'll give you the number to dial and I'll be here a while. I will.
Today's weigh-in is brought to you by our stable of sponsors.
You're back with us on Weigh-In, and it's now a crucial point of the show where we get into, I guess, the nitty-gritty around the changes at the Ellerslie track. Paul Wilcox very kindly joined us here in studio to really give us the lowdown on what's going on, Paul. And when I read the news, I guess it was last week, so many exciting changes. You must have been holding them inside knowing about this release and just so excited to reveal this to everybody.
Yeah, it's been obviously not just happened over the last few days. It's a lot of hard work by a group of people that's got us to this position. So it's a nice thing to be able to come out with some really good news for the industry and give the industry some hope for the future as well. And not just the Auckland racing region, it's actually for the betterment of racing right throughout New Zealand, which we're delighted to be a part of.
I guess from my perspective, I know for you, Michael, you've got a great depth of the industry and the moving parts of a corporate world. I don't. I'm just looking for it in layman's terms, and I guess a lot of the racing industry are looking for that too. What can we expect? What have we got to look forward to? Can we just have a simplified version of what's on the horizon? Yeah,
absolutely. So the short of it is it's a merger between us and counties. That's what we're trying to progress. So if we can get that across with their members and our members, then we're looking at putting in a Strathair surface at Ellerslie. So we'll be having an international standard surface, which is important. We race 40 times a year. We double our stakes from average of 50,000 to 100,000, and we then have also the 10 races of 500,000. And then going up the 3 races at $1 million as well. But most importantly, and it's what I was talking about before, it's a racing scene that attracts the owners, the trainers, the jockeys and the punters. And that's important. It's about giving those younger trainers, those younger jockeys, or even potential people wanting to get into the racing scene, an opportunity to look and see good light at the end of the tunnel.
Paul, you need the members to vote positively. What's been the initial reception from the members?
Yeah, look, I'll speak on behalf of Ellerslie and the feedback that we've got that's come in to me from our people associated with the Auckland Racing Club has been nothing short of outstanding. It's nice to be able to mention something and put something out there, but then also to get that feedback. It's been great to receive. So we're delighted by it, and yeah, let's keep the foot to the pedal.
You're working with Mark Chitty from Pukekohe. What are the possible scenarios for what could, if voted positively by their members, happen to Pukekohe?
Oh, look, there's plenty of water to go under the bridge at this stage, but we know for a fact that the northern region needs a training centre. That's without a fact that we need that training centre. So we'll look at everything and every possibility and make sure that we're doing the best thing for, as I mentioned, not only the Auckland racing scene, but the wider, greater racing scene in New Zealand.
You talk about Strathair coming to Ellerslie. That's a new track. How long will, if this happens, Ellerslie be closed for?
At this stage, it's between 18 months to 2 years. One thing we don't want to do is actually come back to racing too soon. So you have to make sure that surface is perfect, because you've seen it in Australia where they've come back to racing too soon and it's caused all sorts of issues. And I, for one, do not want to be sitting in the top seat if we do something wrong and come back when the time's not right. So the plan is an 18-month closure to have that track put in. But if it needs longer for the grass to really settle and make sure the surface is safe for our horses, then absolutely we'll take our time.
I know a lot of people are really invested in the Ellerslie Hill and what it brings to that winter racing and jumping racing. Is there a decision around that and how that's going to change?
Yeah, look, as we mentioned in the letter, it's looking about everything, and everything's on the table to be discussed. I'm not going to sit here and make decisions that is outside of my realm of expertise to talk about, but we have to look at what we've got. We have to look at all our assets and make sure that what we can realise is for the betterment of racing. You've seen what I've mentioned about the Strathare surface, the raising in stakes, and making sure we can do that in a financially sustainable way. So we'll look at everything we can and make sure we do the right thing for the industry. Yep. But probably importantly, from my perspective, and Doug and Mark in the letter, it's about living your future. It's making sure we cherish our past and respect our history, but we've also got to be forward thinking. In any good business model, you've got to look forward to the future.
Sustainability.
What would happen, Paul, if you close Ellerslie? Where does the Derby and the Cracker-Million go?
Good question. Look, at this stage, those are the finer details that we haven't worked through at the minute, but it would be logical for the Cracker-Million, for example. We'd need to discuss that obviously with a key stakeholder, which is New Zealand Bloodstock, but the proximity where Counties is in relation to the Bloodstock sales centre there, it would be a natural affinity to have it raced there. But those are things we need to look. When we did our track upgrade a few years back there, what we did is we sent those races. They went to Matamata. They also went to Te Rapa and Te Araha as well. So it's about working what is best for the industry and not being selfish and going, we have to keep those races in the Auckland region. If it's better to have, say, the Derby at Te Rapa, then so be it.
The indications are Avondale's committee are saying to their members, we would like to potentially develop this place in 2026 and move to Ellerslie. How is the relationship between Avondale and the ARC at the moment? Yeah,
absolutely, perfectly good. It's right throughout this whole process, it's been the three clubs, which is Counties, it's been the Auckland Racing Club and the Avondale Jockey Club as well. So those discussions have been going very well and they continue to do so.
So we're looking at Ellerslie racing in 5 years. If all this gets voted on positively, Ellerslie race, Avondale may be developed, that's their decision. Pukekohe may be developed, maybe training, but Ellerslie will be the absolute hub of Auckland racing on a Strathare. Is that the dream?
That's loosely the dream of what we're wanting to achieve, and how that happens is obviously going through these discussions with those other two clubs and making sure we get everything right so that we can have what we've put out, what we've said to the industry. This is what we'd like to, and it's not us saying this is us and Counties saying this, and obviously with Avondale playing an important part as well to say.
So where does the money come from for that stake to go from 50 to 100? How do we financially do that under these proposals?
And look, it's about realising those latent assets that we have. So there's a lot of land that's not used for racing at Ellerslie. There's a lot of land that's not used for racing at Counties as well. So it's making sure, and we've shown that we've used some of that land and we've invested that money, which is now in excess of $50 million. This is Ellerslie by itself. It's in excess of $50 million. So it's looking at those opportunities with Counties, looking at those opportunities with us, as we state in the letter that we've prepared, that then we can realise those assets to have an investment fund where we can move into putting the Strathare in and then making sure we've got the stakes money right to be comparable. Our bellwether is Sydney. That's where we're looking to. That's where we'd like to be.
Can you give us a time frame around from where we are now to when this has all happened?
Yeah, from when we first started discussing to here?
Or when we can expect to have those stakes levels? When's that possible?
As soon as possible. So what we will do is once we've got the merger, once we've got that across the line and we can start realising those assets, we can start moving. So we also have, as I mentioned, we've got that fund of $50 million. So if that means that the Auckland Racing Club, once we've got this sorted, that we straight away move into putting a Strathare surface in, then so be it, and then the
So
rest
you can
catch
front
up.
load those stakes and almost start to raise stakes before the developing's happening.
I would say, and it's what Emily talked about before and what we mentioned in here, it's about being sustainable. So there's nothing worse than going ahead and going, we're going to put the stakes up here at this point in time when we haven't got the funding sorted as well. So it's yes, it's not giving you a straight answer, but as soon as we can start moving the process around realising those latent assets, then we can start doing what we've said in the letter.
One of the text messages I got last week was, is this actually going to happen? Because New Zealand Racing's had so many false dawns. I know this isn't a false dawn, but what would you say to people who have those concerns?
Look, we wouldn't have come out with a letter like this and gone public on it if it's a false dawn. So we've been having very, very good discussions, as I mentioned, both with counties and also the Avondale Jockey Club. So we're confident that, you know, look, until it's signed, sealed and delivered, you don't ever want to say, look at the All Blacks on the weekend, what happened there. But for me, what we're doing is we've got the blueprint. John Massara's helped us with that blueprint around as well, and now it's about us showing leadership and also showing leadership, and we get this across the line. We can show other clubs throughout New Zealand, hey, it's not a frightening thing.
Yep.
Actually look at what you can do to sustain your future going forward.
Paul, from a personal perspective for you, you talk about, you know, streamlining the product and making it an exciting industry for young people to be involved in, for jockeys, trainers, owners. From a personal perspective, for you to be involved in such a groundbreaking move in New Zealand racing, how's that been?
Two things there. I'm actually not young, so it's not giving me a future. But hey, look, we're guardians, and that's our job in this whole role. And my job is to pass the baton on to somebody else, give them the opportunity to come into a wonderful club and take it forward, regardless of what we're doing here. That's our responsibility. But if I can stop trainers like a Jamie Richards, if I can stop a Glenn Harvey, Daniel Miller, all those younger people coming through from actually leaving our shores and going overseas, that's marvellous, and that's our responsibility as a collective in the industry to ensure that we have a viable industry, not now, not in 5 years, 10 years, but in 50, 100 years' time, where we can show people that our industry is self-sustaining as well, and it's good for everybody, and not just trainers, but jockeys as well, like Opie.
Yeah.
So we've seen in the last, it's been a hell of a year, but the last week shown us the carnivals can still go on. How is summer looking for Ellerslie this time around? Have you got one plan for no COVID, and is your other plans in case something happened?
Yeah, absolutely. So obviously going through, in Auckland in particular, we had the 2 lockdowns. The second lockdown was a lot harder and harsher on the Auckland Racing Club than what the first lockdown was, because we had the ability to plan the first time around, and in the other racing jurisdictions around the world, particularly Hong Kong, we got an understanding that something big was on its way, so we were nimble and agile enough to be able to get ready for it. The second time cost us plenty in the sense that we came out of lockdown, we worked everything up to get busy again, and then got shut down. So it was hard, but that has given us the time to actually make sure our business, and I'm speaking purely at the Auckland Racing Club here, is lean and agile and nimble, so that we can face any headwinds. And it's, you know, it doesn't matter which way the wind blows, you just have to be nimble enough to change your sails to navigate through it.
What do you say to the members at Avondale, even though they're a different club, Pookie and Ellerslie? What do you say to the members about this? Because some people don't want to change.
Yeah, it's like anything in the world, right? People are frightened of change, and we've seen it. But with COVID, it's allowed us or given us the ability to accept change. We've had to accept change, and in the letter it spells it out clearly. Cherish your history, but we have to all start looking forward to the future. And I think as an industry, again, not just talking about this, but if we can cherish our past and our history, but look forward to the future, then that's got to be great for all of us. Very, can't you tell, Michael? I'm excited. You've lost your voice.
No,
I get to spend more time talking to Emily, but
I
yes,
think this is the future. Paul and I together on the show, this has been the greatest show ever, because I've actually got to talk Lots tonight. It's been wonderful. That's probably a great wrap up, a great point. Cherish your history, but also streamline yourself for the future. Loved having your company on Weigh In tonight. Get involved if you want to have any feedback or chat around the show. Make sure you get in touch with us, and we'll be back at the same time on Monday next week.